The Grand Belmore Hotel ballroom was a vision of cream roses and golden candlelight. Leah Adams stood at the altar in her champagne-colored bridesmaid dress, holding Violet's bouquet, watching her best friend marry Cameron Hart in what was supposed to be the wedding of the century. Everything was perfect. 200 guests dressed in their finest. A string quartet playing softly. The sunset streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting everything in warm amber light. Violet looked stunning in her custom Vera Wang gown, her blonde hair styled in an elegant updo, her smile radiant as she faced Cameron. The billionaire tech CEO looked handsome in his tailored tuxedo, though Leah had always thought his smile never quite reached his eyes. On Cameron's side stood his younger brother Owen as best man, and Leah's traitorous heart did its usual skip when she looked at him. Owen Hart was everything Cameron wasn't, warm where Cameron was cold, genuine where Cameron was calculated, devastatingly attractive in a way that made her forget to breathe. She'd harbored a hopeless crush on Owen since meeting him 3 years ago at one of Cameron's company events. But Owen seemed oblivious to her existence, treating her with friendly politeness and nothing more. The officiant, a silver-haired minister with a kind face, smiled at the couple. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. It was a formality. No one ever actually spoke during that part. Leah glanced at Owen, found him staring at her with an intensity that made her breath catch. His jaw was clenched, his hands fisted at his sides, his blue eyes burning with something that looked almost like pain. Then he stepped forward. "I object." The words rang out clear and sharp, cutting through the gentle music. The quartet stumbled to a halt. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Violet's face went white. "Owen?" Cameron turned, disbelief and fury warring on his features. "What the hell are you doing?" "I can't let you do this," Owen said, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. "I can't stand here and watch this happen." "You're drunk," Cameron hissed. "Or insane." "Sit down." "I'm neither." Owen's eyes found Leah's, and the intensity there made her knees weak. "I'm just done pretending." Violet's mother stood, her face red with rage. "This is absolutely unacceptable." "Security. Please, let me speak." Owen raised his voice to be heard over the growing commotion. "I have something to say, and everyone here deserves to hear it." "Owen, don't," Cameron warned, his voice low and dangerous. But Owen ignored him, his gaze still locked on Leah. 3 years ago, I met a woman at one of my brother's company parties. She was there supporting her best friend, making awkward small talk with investors, and laughing at jokes that weren't funny because she was kind. Leah's heart hammered. He was talking about her. About the night they'd met. "I fell in love with her that night," Owen continued. "With her warmth and her honesty and the way she sees the best in people. I've been in love with her ever since. And I've watched her stand beside my brother and his fiancée, supporting their relationship, being the world's best friend, while I pretended I didn't feel anything." "Owen, stop." Cameron's voice was sharp with warning. "I can't." Owen finally tore his eyes from Leah to look at his brother. "And it's not just about my feelings. You don't love Violet, Cameron. You're marrying her for her family's connections and social standing. You're using her." "That's a lie." Violet's voice shook. "Cameron loves me. Tell him, Cameron." Cameron's face was a mask of fury. "My brother is clearly having some kind of breakdown. Security, please escort him out. I'm not going anywhere until I say this." Owen looked back at Leah, and she saw tears in his eyes. "Leah Adams, I love you. I have loved you for 3 years. I know this is the worst possible timing, and I know I have no right to disrupt this day. But I couldn't let you stand there another moment without knowing the truth." The ballroom erupted in chaos. Guests shouting, Violet crying, Cameron yelling for security. Leah stood frozen, bouquet trembling in her hands, unable to process what was happening. Owen loved her. Had loved her for 3 years. Leah? Violet's voice cut through the noise. Did you know about this? Did you put him up to this? What? No. Leah finally found her voice. Violet, I swear I had no idea. She didn't know, Owen interjected. I never told her how I felt. This is entirely my doing. You've ruined my wedding. Violet screamed, mascara running down her face. My perfect wedding. How could you? Security guards finally reached Owen, grabbing his arms. He didn't resist, but his eyes never left Leah's face. I'm sorry, he said to her, only to her. I know this changes everything. But I couldn't hold it in anymore. I couldn't. Watch you look at me with those beautiful eyes and not tell you that you're all I think about. That you're all I've wanted for 3 years. They dragged him toward the exit. Cameron put his arm around Violet, who was sobbing into her hands. The guests buzzed with shock and excitement. This would be the gossip event of the season. And Leah stood at the altar, her world tilting sideways, feeling like she'd been struck by lightning. Owen Hart loved her. But he'd just destroyed her best friend's wedding to say it. As security pulled Owen through the ballroom doors, he looked back one last time. Their eyes met, and even through the chaos and the anger and the confusion, Leah felt it, that electric connection she'd been denying for 3 years. Then he was gone, and she was left standing in the wreckage of what should have been the happiest day of Violet's life. Leah. Violet's voice was cold, cutting through her thoughts. I think you should go. Violet, please, I didn't. I don't care. Violet's tear-stained face was hard with betrayal. You're supposed to be my best friend. And your presence here just reminds me that the man I thought was my future brother-in-law is apparently in love with you. That's not Leah's fault, Cameron said, though his eyes on Leah were calculating, cold. My brother is the one who caused this disaster. I need everyone to leave. Violet's voice broke. The wedding is over. Just, everyone go. The guests began filing out, whispering and staring. Leah stood frozen until Violet's mother physically steered her toward the exit. Outside the ballroom, Leah leaned against the wall, trying to breathe. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I'm in the parking garage. Level 3. Please come. I'll explain everything. Owen. She should go home. Should give Violet space. Should forget everything Owen said. Instead, she found herself walking to the elevator, pressing 3, her heart racing with every floor she descended. Whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same. Owen stood beside a black SUV, still in his tuxedo, looking devastated and determined all at once. When he saw her, relief flooded his features. You came, he breathed. You ruined my best friend's wedding, Leah said, anger and confusion warring inside her. I know. And I'm sorry. But Leah, I had to stop it. Not just because I love you. He took a step closer. Because Cameron was using Violet. And there's something else. Something you need to know about my brother. Something that explains everything. What are you talking about? Owen looked around the parking garage, then back at her. Get in the car. Please. I'll explain everything. And after you hear what I have to say, if you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. But you deserve to know the truth about Cameron Hart. Every instinct told Leah this was insane. But something in Owen's eyes, desperation mixed with honesty, made her open the car door. This better be good, she said, sliding into the passenger seat. It's not good, Owen replied, starting the engine. It's terrible. But it's the truth. And it's why I couldn't let that wedding happen. As they drove out of the parking garage and into the night, Leah had no idea that Owen's confession at the altar was just the beginning, and that the truth he was about to reveal would change everything she thought she knew about love, loyalty, and the man she'd been crushing on for 3 years. Owen drove in tense silence for 20 minutes, heading out of the city toward the hills. Leah watched the lights fade behind them, her mind spinning. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "Somewhere Cameron doesn't know about. A place where I've been hiding something, someone he wants kept secret." "You're scaring me, Owen." He glanced at her, his expression pained. "I'm sorry. I should explain." He took a breath. 3 years ago, Cameron had a relationship with a woman named Lyra. She was a scientist, brilliant, beautiful. She was also not from Earth. Leah stared at him. Not from Earth. She was an alien researcher studying human technology. She and Cameron fell in love, or so she thought. When she got pregnant, Cameron panicked. He didn't want the scandal, didn't want a child that might look different. "Owen, this sounds insane." "I know. But it's true." He pulled off the highway onto a private road. Lyra died giving birth. Complications from biological incompatibility. Cameron took their daughter and hid her away in a private facility. He pays people to care for her, to keep her secret, while he lives his public life pretending she doesn't exist. The SUV stopped in front of a modern house hidden among trees. Owen turned to face her. "Her name is Iris. She's 8 years old, and her skin is purple because of her mother's genetics. She's brilliant, lonely, and desperate for love." And Cameron was going to marry Violet to create the perfect public family image while keeping his real daughter locked away. Leah felt sick. "That's why you stopped the wedding." "Partly. But Leah, I also stopped it because I couldn't stand there another moment watching you, loving you, pretending I didn't." He reached for her hand. "I've been coming here for months, visiting Iris, trying to give her what Cameron won't, attention, affection, family. And every time I look at her, I think about how Cameron treats people like possessions. I couldn't let him do that to Violet." "Does Violet know about Iris?" "No. Cameron's kept her existence from everyone except me, and only because I discovered the truth by accident 6 months ago." "Take me to her," Leah said. "To Iris." Inside the house, a caregiver named Maria greeted Owen warmly. "She's been asking for you. She knew it was Saturday." Owen led Leah to a beautiful room filled with books and art supplies. A small girl sat reading, and when she looked up, Leah's breath caught. Iris had Owen's blue eyes, not Cameron's brown, and dark hair, but her skin was a soft purple that shimmered slightly in the light. She was beautiful and otherworldly. "Uncle Owen." Iris's face lit up. Then she noticed Leah, and her expression grew cautious. "Who is this?" "This is Leah. Someone very special to me." Owen knelt beside Iris. "Someone I hope will want to know you." "Your heart rate increased when you saw me," Iris observed, studying Leah. "Surprise, not fear." "That's unusual." Leah moved closer, kneeling too. "Your uncle is right. You are special. And I'd very much like to know you." Over the next hour, Leah talked with Iris, who was brilliant and articulate far beyond her years. The girl spoke about missing her mother, about feeling alone, about wanting to go to school like normal children. "Father says I can't," Iris explained. "That people would be afraid of me." "Your father is wrong," Leah said firmly. "But changing that will take time." After Iris went to bed, Owen and Leah sat on the porch under the stars. "She has your eyes," Leah observed. Owen was quiet for a moment. "Cameron told everyone Iris was his daughter. But Lyra told me the truth before she died. I'm Iris's biological father. Cameron and I were both involved with Lyra before she chose me. When she got pregnant, Cameron convinced her to say the child was his because he had more resources to protect them both. And then he hid her away. And then he hid her away, Owen confirmed bitterly. I only discovered the truth when I found Lyra's final letter to me 6 months ago. Cameron has been holding my daughter hostage, using her to control me. If I ever challenged him publicly, he threatened to have her taken by authorities and studied. That's why you've never told anyone how you felt about me, Leah realized. He was controlling you. Until tonight. Tonight I decided I was done living in fear. Done letting him manipulate everyone around him. Owen took her hand. I meant what I said at the altar. I love you, Leah. I have for 3 years. And I'm sorry it took so long to find the courage to tell you. Leah looked at their joined hands, feeling the electricity of his touch. I've had a crush on you since the night we met. I thought you saw me as just Cameron's fiancé's friend. I saw you as everything I wanted and couldn't have. He lifted her hand to his lips. Can I kiss you? I've waited 3 years, and I don't think I can wait another moment. Leah answered by closing the distance between them. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, then deepened into something urgent and claiming. 3 years of longing poured into that moment. When they finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, Owen rested his forehead against hers. What do we do now? Leah whispered. We protect Iris. We tell Violet the truth. And we figure out how to stop Cameron. The next morning, Leah insisted they tell Violet everything. They found her at her penthouse, still in her bathrobe, eyes swollen from crying. How dare you show up here, Violet said when she opened the door. Please, let us explain, Leah begged. There's something you need to know about Cameron. I don't want to hear it. He has a daughter, Owen said bluntly. An 8-year-old daughter he's kept hidden. That's the real reason I stopped the wedding. Violet's face went white. You're lying. I wish I was. Leah pulled out her phone, showing photos of Iris. Her name is Iris. Cameron has been hiding her because she's half alien and he's ashamed of her. For an hour, they explained everything. Violet listened, her expression cycling through disbelief, horror, and finally rage. He was going to marry me while keeping a child prisoner? Her voice shook. What kind of monster does that? The kind who cares more about his image than people, Owen said. Violet looked at Leah, tears streaming. I'm sorry. For blaming you. You were trying to be a good friend, and I. It's okay, Leah pulled her into a hug. I understand. But their reunion was interrupted by a call to Owen's phone. Cameron. Or? Owen challenged. Or I make one phone call to certain government contacts, and Iris becomes a research subject in a classified facility. You'll never find her, and she'll spend the rest of her life being studied. Leah grabbed the phone. You wouldn't do that to your own daughter. She's not my daughter, Cameron said. She's Owen's biological mistake that I've been graciously protecting. A protection I can withdraw at any time. The line went dead. Violet looked between them, horrified. He's bluffing. He's not, Owen said grimly. Cameron has connections everywhere. Military, intelligence, private contractors. If he makes that call, Iris disappears. So what do we do? Leah asked. Let him control us forever? Owen was quiet, thinking. Then his expression hardened. No. We expose him first. We go public with everything before he can act. That puts Iris at risk, Violet pointed out. Staying silent puts her at risk too, Leah said. At least if it's public, there's accountability. Scientists and advocates who'll fight for her rights. They spent the next 2 days preparing. Owen contacted lawyers, child advocates, and sympathetic journalists. They gathered evidence, Lyra's letters, financial records of Cameron's payments to the facility, photos and videos of Iris. During those 2 days, Owen and Leah grew closer. Stolen kisses in quiet moments. Hands held under tables during meetings. The crisis bringing them together in ways that felt both terrible and right. One night, working late in Owen's apartment, the tension between them finally broke. "I should go," Leah said, standing from the couch where they'd been reviewing documents. Owen caught her hand. "Stay. Please. Owen. I love you. I've loved you for 3 years. And I know the timing is terrible, but I can't pretend anymore." He pulled her close. "Stay with me tonight." Leah's answer was a kiss. What followed was tender and passionate, 3 years of longing finally released. They made love slowly, savoring each touch, each whispered confession of feelings too long suppressed. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, Leah whispered, "Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm glad we have tonight." "We'll have more than tonight," Owen promised. "I won't let Cameron win." Cameron scheduled a press conference to address the disrupted wedding, planning to paint Owen as unstable and announce his and Violet's reconciliation. But Owen and Leah had a different plan. The press conference was held at the Hart Industries headquarters, packed with journalists. Cameron stood at the podium, confident and charismatic. "Thank you all for coming. As you know, my wedding was disrupted by an unfortunate incident involving my brother. I want to assure everyone that Owen is receiving help for his issues, and Violet and I look forward to rescheduling our ceremony." That's when Leah walked onto the stage. "Actually, that's not what's happening," she said, taking the microphone. Cameron's face darkened. "Miss Adams, this is inappropriate. What's inappropriate is hiding your daughter for 8 years." Leah's voice rang clear and strong. "Everyone here deserves to know the truth about Cameron Hart." Journalists erupted with questions. Cameras flashed. Cameron tried to grab the microphone, but Owen appeared, stepping between them. "My name is Owen Hart, and I'm Iris's biological father," Owen announced. 3 years ago, I had a relationship with a woman named Lyra, an extraterrestrial scientist. When she became pregnant, my brother Cameron convinced her to claim the child as his, promising protection and resources. He pulled up photos on the screen behind them, Iris smiling, playing, learning. "This is Iris. She's 8 years old, brilliant, and has been kept hidden in a private facility her entire life because Cameron was ashamed of her appearance. Her mother died giving birth, and instead of honoring her memory by loving their daughter, Cameron locked her away." The room exploded. Reporters shouting, cameras going crazy, security trying to restore order. Cameron's face was red with fury. "This is slander. Owen is mentally unstable." "I have evidence," Owen said calmly, displaying financial records, facility contracts, and Lyra's letters on the screen. "Everything documented. Cameron Hart has been holding my daughter prisoner to control me and protect his reputation." Leah stepped forward. "I'm the maid of honor who watched him plan to marry my best friend while hiding this secret. He threatened to have Iris taken by government authorities if we exposed the truth. He cares more about his image than about a little girl who deserves love and freedom." "You're destroying me," Cameron hissed at Owen. "No. I'm saving my daughter. There's a difference." The press conference descended into chaos, but the damage was done. The story went viral within hours. #Justice for Iris trended worldwide. Scientists issued statements defending Iris's rights. Child advocates called for investigations. Cameron was arrested that evening for child endangerment, extortion, and fraud in concealing Iris's parentage. Violet, who'd been watching from the audience, approached Leah afterward. "Thank you," she said simply. "For stopping me from marrying a monster." "I'm sorry it happened this way," Leah replied. "I'm not. Better now than after the wedding." Violet managed a small smile. "And Leah?" I see the way Owen looks at you. Don't let this disaster stop you from being happy. 6 months after the press conference, life had settled into a new normal. Cameron faced trial for multiple charges. The public outrage had been overwhelming, but more importantly, scientists and advocates had rallied to protect Iris's rights. Owen gained full custody of his daughter. They relocated to a private estate in Vermont where Iris could live freely, exploring the forest, attending a specialized virtual school, and finally experiencing childhood. Leah moved with them, having fallen completely in love with both Owen and Iris. She worked remotely as a consultant while helping to homeschool Iris and adjust to their new life. "Mom?" Iris said one morning at breakfast, testing out the word she'd started using for Leah. "Yes, sweetheart. Father wants to marry you. I calculated the probability based on how he looks at you. It's 98%. Leah laughed. "You've been doing probability calculations again?" "She's not wrong," Owen said, walking into the kitchen. He dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring. "Leah Adams, you stood beside me when I made the craziest confession in wedding history. You helped me expose my brother's crimes. You've loved my daughter like your own. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Leah said through tears. "Absolutely yes." They married 3 months later in an intimate ceremony at the estate. Iris was flower girl, her purple skin glowing with happiness. Violet was maid of honor, this time, for the right reasons. "I'm glad the first wedding fell apart," Violet whispered to Leah before the ceremony. "Because this one is perfect." As Leah walked down the aisle toward Owen, she thought about that moment at the altar 6 months ago. Owen's shocking confession that had ruined everything. Except it hadn't ruined everything. It had saved them all. The kiss they shared when the officiant pronounced them married was nothing like that chaotic day at Cameron's wedding. This kiss was joyful, free, the beginning of something real. "I love you," Owen murmured against her lips. "Thank you for not running away when I confessed at the worst possible moment." "Thank you for being brave enough to speak the truth," Leah replied. "Even when it cost everything." That night, at the reception, Iris gave a toast that made everyone cry. "I used to think I'd always be alone because I was different," she said, her purple skin shimmering in the candlelight. "But then Uncle Owen, Father, fought for me. And Leah loved me without hesitation. They taught me that family isn't about being the same. It's about choosing to love each other despite everything." She raised her glass. "To Mom and Dad. Thank you for choosing each other and choosing me." Years later, when people asked about their wedding story, Leah and Owen would smile and say it started with a confession at someone else's altar. She'd been the maid of honor at her best friend's wedding, watching what she thought was a perfect ceremony. One kiss, or rather, one confession before the kiss could happen, changed everything. It destroyed a wedding. Exposed terrible secrets. Sent a man to prison. But it also freed a little girl, brought 2 people together who'd loved each other in silence for 3 years, and created a family that proved love doesn't follow conventional rules. Sometimes the worst moment becomes the catalyst for the best outcome. Sometimes speaking the truth at the altar, even when it's the wrong altar, is exactly what everyone needs to hear. And sometimes the maid of honor doesn't end up celebrating her best friend's wedding. She ends up finding her own. The altar kiss that never happened at Cameron's wedding became the beginning of a love story that did get its happy ending, messy, unconventional, but absolutely perfect. Because real love isn't about perfect timing or proper procedures. It's about being brave enough to speak truth, strong enough to protect the vulnerable, and willing enough to love without conditions. Leah had stood at that altar expecting to witness a wedding. Instead, she'd witnessed the beginning of her own love story. And that made all the chaos, all the drama, all the scandal absolutely worth it.